flipping back the calendar to highlight yesteryear's finest and exploring the vast archives in cinema history. This is the Movie Review Rewind podcast on the Sobros Network Patreon. Welcome back for another episode of the Movie Review Rewind podcast right here on Sobros Network. Mine's right, ass is tight. It is November of 2024. And folks, we're going to be talking about one of the horniest, grossest movies of all time. It is 1998's Wild Things. And if you remember, if you're a man of a certain age, like we are, you probably remember this movie for one very distinct scene. We'll get into that as we go. I'm your host for the show, the EIC at SobrosNetwork.com, Big Natural Stoney Keeley. You can follow me on Twitter at Stoney Keeley. Collectively, we are at Sobros Network on all major social media platforms. Joined, as usual, by the resident film critic of Sobros Network. He is a board member on the Music City Film Critics Association. He is a member of the Southeastern Film Critics Association as well. Mr. Big Shot himself, Brandon Vick. Brandon, how are you doing today, my man?
Good. I love the season.
I do too. And, you know, I'll be honest with you. When I was planning out the calendar for Movie Review Rewind this year, I didn't realize, okay, so I thought I had seen Wild Things before. As it turns out, I've only seen one scene of Wild Things before.
Right.
But never actually watched the rest of the movie. Right. I did not realize how heavily summer this
it's very sweaty
this movie is, but it is. It's a very sweaty movie set in the swamps in South Florida.
So you would not watch this with the holdovers?
I would not. No.
Okay.
No, I would not.
Okay.
This would not be one that I would.
Or Dead Poets Society, whatever.
No. I would not be cozying up with a warm beverage.
Oh, you could.
Under a blanket. Well, you
might
well,
snuggle up to Kevin Bacon's cock. Yeah. I'll tell you that much.
Listen, you watch.
Is that the scene you're talking about?
That is the scene. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times.
Oh my God!
I hit pause on that bitch and just that blanket started.
But isn't
moving.
it shocking? It's almost shocking when the towel, because I don't expect it.
It's shocking,
Kevin Bacon,
and it's pretty pointless too.
Very.
It's not like a sex scene.
No, he's actually talking to Matt Dillon. Yeah. So I don't know if it's literally comparing dicks or what, but yeah, it's very unnecessary. But I guess they were like, hey, Kev, if you don't mind,
we got to sell some movie tickets. Get that thing
We've
out
shown
there.
Some titties. We need some dick, and Matt Dillon ain't up for it.
Yeah. Was that, does that make Wild Things progressive in that?
Keeping
in that
it
regard?
even?
Yeah.
I guess.
1998. I'll ask. For me, I thought I had seen this movie, but then when I went and watched it again to do this podcast, I realized I hadn't seen it before, and I wanted to ask you if this was one that you remember seeing back in 98, which we would have been 12 years old. But early on.
This is what's weird.
Earlier on in your life.
I know I had seen it, and I'll be honest, I really don't know. I can't remember how. I don't think I saw it in theaters.
Well, I mean, listen.
Because my parents took, like, I would see rated R movies and stuff. Like, that wasn't, that's not a big deal. And it never really was with my parents.
I thought you were about to say, I still see rated R movies.
Yeah, I still see them. I'm old enough.
Yeah.
But I want to say we must have rented it or something, because I really don't think, in 98, I don't think I would have seen it in theaters.
Yeah, I'd.
So I guess it had to be a video store. That's the only thing I can think of.
Well, see, now here's the thing. Why I thought I had seen it is because we're men of a certain age. We're 38 years old. Yeah. And back in our day, you know, adult entertainment was not as readily available to teenagers as it is now. We were in the early stages of the internet. So, like, you had to really get creative if you wanted to see stuff.
Yeah.
And
but I feel like, was this like, it could have come on Cinemax maybe?
Well, one of the ways to do it, you go to the video store and you pick something off the shelf and you ask your parents, hey, can we rent this? I've never seen it before. And if your parents were anything like mine, it was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Who gives a fuck? Whatever you want, son. They weren't looking at like, oh, this is rated R. Oh, this is gratuitous sex and nudity. So you snuck it in that way. And it's like, oh, you're
But
basically.
here's the tricky part. Let's say your mom or father are looking at it like, oh, Nev Campbell and Matt Dillon, I like them. Let's all watch it.
Let's watch this as a family.
Let's watch this as a.
Well, then you got to
over
own up to
supper.
it. You got to own up to it. I had to do that a couple
You
times.
just act shocked.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, boobies. Ugh.
Boobies. Ugh, gross.
But yeah, I'm
Daddy, why'd you let me rent this?
I'm assuming I either watched it on TV or maybe we rented it. I don't know. I had seen it though.
I had a friend that had the DVD.
Oh, okay.
And it was for the exact reason you would think a 14-year-old
Spank.
Yeah.
Spanking the monkey.
Yeah.
Is that what kids call it still?
I think so. I think so. And this is great.
Who was it?
We're not even 6 minutes in.
I don't know. I have a feeling.
This is all we're talking about is that threesome scene from this movie.
Which,
but
by the way, is not even really that hot, to be honest with you.
We'll get into it.
Now that I'm older,
yeah,
I really built that up in my head.
I built this whole movie up in my head.
Well, yeah, touche.
And I don't know. Sometimes we watch these movies, we revisit old stuff, and I can see where, okay, if I were younger, I would like this movie. I would have appreciated this.
No,
I can't fathom watching this and ever thinking.
There's only one reason why a boy would enjoy this movie.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had a buddy that had the DVD, and sometimes he'd let me borrow it, and I could keep it for the weekend.
Whoa.
Boy, that was a busy weekend.
It's like a guardianship. Here, you keep them for the weekend. You bring that back on Monday.
Yeah. We,
oh, boy.
I'm tempted to bring this. I'm tempted to not bring this up because I don't know if the guilty party will be listening to this.
Yeah, I have to.
We also have a college roommate that got busted watching this movie by us.
Okay.
Yeah. You remember, surely. And we're going to have to talk about it off the air now.
I know who it is, I think.
Yeah. But listen, this movie.
Is it last name M?
No, hey, listen, don't identify
no one
anybody.
Knows. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So now everybody's going to think it's McCash, probably.
Could be.
It could be. It could be.
Could be.
Anyway.
When we were 14, he was 72. He had every right to do it.
So.
He won't listen. He doesn't listen to this.
I really think that was the thing that made this like a cult hit.
A cult hit between people jizzing everywhere.
Teenage boys.
Have you seen Wild Things? Sorta.
Yeah. So
I saw it sorta.
Let's get to the synopsis.
Yeah. By the way, there's a story to it.
If it's been a while since you've seen this movie and you need a bit of a refresher, Wild Things, according to Wikipedia, is a 1998 American neo-noir erotic thriller film directed by John McNaughton and starring Matt Dillon, Kevin Bacon, Nev Campbell, Denise Richards, and Bill Murray. It follows a high school guidance counselor in South Florida who is accused of rape by 2 female students and a series of subsequent revelations after a police officer begins investigating the alleged crimes. It's a pretty wild plot, and that is not to say that it is necessarily a good plot.
Yeah.
But I will give Wild Things credit, for better or for worse. They really flip things on their head over and over. I mean, there is like twist after twist after twist as this thing goes on, and it's really not even. It's really in like the back half of the movie because the first half. Yeah. It kind of, I felt like it takes its time really setting this story up, but then once you have that
one reveal, there's about 10 others involved.
Yeah, and so it's kind of nonstop down the stretch. I thought it felt really. It feels pretty porny.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it does.
I mean, it is. I just wonder, like, you take this idea, you probably could have made a pretty good actual erotic film with it. Like, you don't
you
try
mean like straight up porn.
Yeah, like don't worry about getting Matt Dillon, Kevin Bacon, Nev Campbell, Denise Richards.
No,
get
Denise,
actual.
Denise could.
I don't know Denise like that.
Well, she's on the Real Housewives, or she was. And
really?
I
didn't know that.
She's on OnlyFans.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh well, hey.
And then, well, listen here. So Erica accused Denise that her daughter Denise's daughter makes more money than her on OnlyFans.
Well, damn. Okay.
That's
I didn't.
Beverly Hills, in case anybody wants to look that up.
That's another wild revelation.
But yes, you could. This could be just
make
a
it an actual porn.
Yeah,
because the acting, you don't clearly you don't need acting in this.
No,
you could have just written this in a way where it's an actual erotic film, and you get people in there. You can tell the same stupid story,
basically,
and just have people fucking.
Yeah. But like really fucking.
But then teenage boys in 1998 wouldn't have been able to get it from the video store. Yeah. So I don't know.
Wouldn't have been able to get to it.
Back and forth on that. But what did you think of the plot of this film overall?
I mean, it's pretty silly. At first, it's kind of like, oh, okay, but then there's so much issues with the dialogue in general that none of it's really believable. And some things are almost overly dramatic, where I feel like we forgot what kind of movie we're in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then once the kind of twists start, they don't stop. But for the most part, there's nothing really that intriguing about it. Like, I almost feel like you can kind of predict essentially what's going to happen, that not everybody is going to live happily ever after and everybody's just going to split this money. I mean, it just doesn't. That's just not how it goes. I think we've seen enough to know that this ain't it. Now, I think Matt Dillon's character may be the most interesting because he does a switch of the guy maybe people think he is, but it's not who portrays, but maybe he really is that. And then he kind of seems like he's in control until he's not in control. And then this is one of the few things that happens, but at the credits, they show you kind of how things were really orchestrated.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool, but it's kind of like, I don't care. Or the shit that they show you is kind of like, yeah, I've kind of figured this is how they met, or, oh, okay, they met at a bar and said, hey, you want to join up? And the two men try to fuck over everybody. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems pretty ridiculous now, which not that this wouldn't be made now.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it was so like gung-ho on nudity and sex that it's almost like if we try to trick people and you have stars, then it's different, but it's not really at all.
Who do you think, any performances in this film that you think, hey, you know what, like maybe this wasn't the best material, but that actor really showed up and gave it some life?
I don't know. Maybe the crocodile lady. She seemed pretty into it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bill Murray comes to mind, but I feel like
Bill Murray is really
Bill
playing
Murray.
it up and almost kind of. I feel like Bill Murray, and maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but I feel like he knows the kind of absurdity of it all, and he just kind of leans into it.
Yeah.
But maybe Neve Campbell.
Yeah.
Maybe Neve Campbell.
Yeah.
More so than Denise, Matt Dillon. I forgot her name, but whoever plays the mother of Denise Richards and her sex slave pool boy.
Man, that was
Kevin
a wild
Bacon.
scene too.
Kevin Bacon. I love Kevin Bacon, but most of the time where he's involved, he's either being too serious.
Yeah.
Or it's almost like he's too suspicious. Like, I don't know. It's odd the way he did it. It's almost like he was training for Mystic River, but he's stuck in this kind of swamp hell. I don't know. It was weird.
What if he did Wild Things and that was the thing that made him like, you know what? I want to do more. I want to do more like detective police work. He's like, Mystic River.
Yeah. You know what? This is something, but here in about 5 years when Clint Eastwood calls, I'll be ready.
Yeah. Kevin Bacon, it's funny you mentioned that. Oh, I do want to ask real quick. What's the best Matt Dillon movie?
Oh, God.
Because I can't name one. I can't.
I thought he was pretty funny in There's Something About Mary.
That's the only one that comes to mind.
And I appreciated his performance in Crash.
Oh, I forgot about Crash. Crash was a good one. Yeah.
He shows up in things that he's good at, but
Whatever happened to
unfortunately he
him?
doesn't. I don't know.
We
Was
could look it
who-
up, but
he was it, I think him and Cameron Diaz, like he was known for dating somebody, and I want to think it was Cameron Diaz because they may have even met on There's Something About Mary.
Matt Dillon
But
is
the house that Jack built,
60 years old.
oh my God, is he?
Matt Dillon is 60 fucking
Wow.
years old. Holy shit, I had no idea. Let's see if we can get his filmography. He has.
Let's see if we can get him on the show.
Oh, well, he was in Asteroid City. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot
It
about
was.
that.
Well,
American Dreamer, Land of Dreams, Capone, the Tom Hardy movie.
Oh, yeah.
Man, he's been in a lot of stuff that
The
I
house
have.
that Jack built, I'm familiar with, but Going in Style, I remember him in. Oh, Rock Dog. I'm sorry.
Takers. He
Art
was
of the
in
Steel.
You, Me, and Dupree.
Yeah, yeah.
I liked You, Me, and Dupree. We should talk about that movie. at some
Armored
point.
was kind of fun.
Man, he's got a really,
Wow.
really weird filmography.
He does. He's taken anything and everything. I just look at like Wild Things, One Night at McCool's, Deuces Wild, City of Ghosts, Employee of the Month, and then Crash, and then Herbie Fully Loaded, You, Me, and Dupree, and then Nothing But the Truth was a good one with him and Kate Beckinsale. I do remember that one. Takers, I remember that one. But yeah, he's.
He got a nomination. He got an Oscar nomination for Crash.
Yeah, best
Holy
supporting actor.
shit!
Yep,
Good for him.
yep.
Good for
And
him.
you would think it would have done something.
Wild Things was nominated for an award.
I'm sure it was.
It was nominated for an MTV Movie Award
Best Kiss.
for Best Kiss,
Yeah.
shared with Denise Richards and Nev Campbell.
Did they win?
They did not win.
Who'd they lose to?
Well, I don't know. Let me see.
What is 1998 offering?
1998 was a wild year, huh?
Yeah, it must have been.
Let's see here. Gwyneth Paltrow and Joseph Fiennes in Shakespeare in Love.
Oh,
Ben Stiller and Cameron Diaz were nominated for There's Something About Mary that year.
oh.
Matt Dillon, Denise Richards, and Nev Campbell were nominated for Wild
Well,
Things.
they should be.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it was certainly a kiss.
Hey, listen. I don't know if you're looking at this, but he's got some upcoming projects: Haunted Heart, An Ocean Apart, and The Gambler Wife. I don't know what.
Can we put Matt Damon? Do you like his acting enough?
I like Matt Damon. Are you talking about Matt Dillon? Matt Damon's on another level. Don't get me started.
Matt Dillon, do you put him in that category of like guys that have been in the game for a while that deserve a good run, or do you think he's not? Like we're talking like Brendan Fraser getting the win for The Whale. We're talking about.
I mean,
like we've talked about Josh Hartnett before. Like he's good for him
yeah.
getting this comeback. Do you put Matt Dillon in that conversation or
I don't. I mean, I think he's a good actor. I think he's probably remembered more for probably within 80s and 90s maybe, and who he dated. But I mean, listen, given that right role, you never know. I mean, Brendan Fraser's a great example. Would you think he'd ever be an Oscar winner?
No, absolutely not.
Exactly. So
there's
hope. And I bet you he looks pretty damn good for 60.
Yeah. Have you seen? Do you know who was originally the first choice for the role of Sam Lombardo?
No.
You want to take a wild guess? 1998.
In 1998.
Yeah, a wild guess for Wild Things.
Oh.
I didn't mean to do that. By the way, it just happened.
I feel like it's a bigger star than Matt Dillon.
We'll give the listeners time to think about this too as you're trying to think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, 1998. How about I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
Was considered because of his highly publicized drug problems, and although he was in recovery, he was seen as too great an insurance risk.
Oh.
1998. The
Was that
producer,
Downey?
it was Downey.
Robert Downey Jr.?
Jr. Producer Rodney Leiber said we couldn't make it work.
He could have done it.
And the production company even offered to put up some of the money.
Whoa.
But there were just too many lawyers and insurance people
Wow.
and bond company involved.
That's how much shit Downey Jr. was in.
Yeah.
You know what? This is totally off topic. Well, not really, but earlier in the year, I've never seen Chaplin when he was first nominated.
Mm-hmm.
It's very boring. It's 2 hours and almost 30 minutes. He's great in it, I had never. It's so formulaic and tedious about one of the biggest known actors in the world. I was shocked. And you know what shocked me even more? Richard Attenborough directed it.
Oh shit!
Do you know who that is?
We've talked about him before.
But do you know who he is?
No, not off the top of my
So
head.
he's the old man in Jurassic Park.
Yes, I did know that. Yeah.
I did not realize he was such a successful director because the guy won 2 Oscars because he directed Gandhi and then won Best Picture.
How about that?
I was shocked, but Downey Jr. seems so young, but his talent just jumps off the screen. But boy, that was a tough one to get through. But it has Dan Aykroyd, David Duchovny, Mila Jovovich, Marissa Tomei. It has a bunch of people in it.
Well, I'll have to go check it out.
I don't know about that.
When I want to go to sleep.
Yeah, just assume that great acting, not in a great movie.
When I'm having trouble sleeping one night, I'll pop it on.
I can see him doing that role, though, especially in 1998. And honestly, if he was drugged up, it probably even add a little more excitement to it.
Maybe.
And that threesome.
Maybe, yeah. So Kevin Bacon described the script as the trashiest thing he had ever read.
Yes. Yeah.
But every few pages, there was another surprise. So I like how that's all it took to get Kevin Bacon on board. He was also an executive producer of this
Trashy
film.
as hell, but just keep the surprise coming. It's good for him.
I love it. I love these surprises. Y'all are so creative.
I'm going to do it. And you know what? I'll show my dick too.
Well, the nudity was a big, it's always been like the big talking point with this.
Which
this
seems
film.
kind of funny these days.
Bacon had a no nudity clause in his contract to do this, but whenever they shot the scene with the shower, he thought that looked the best, so he let him run with it. So you just imagine like Kevin Bacon sitting there like, my dick looks good.
Yeah,
I'm
you know
cool
what,
with
guys?
It. Just run with it.
Just go with it.
Just run with it. I'm having a good dick day.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Dick
it's
loose, dick loose all through it. Good for him.
Neve Campbell had a strict no nudity clause that
she kind of kept to that though, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Because Denise showed her fake boobies.
She took on the role wanting to challenge herself to do something different from her Party of 5 character and to avoid being typecast.
Right. Well, she had done. I thought she's done Scream up to that point.
I don't remember when Scream was.
Scream was like 96.
Yeah. So, and then Denise Richards' lawyer negotiated a detailed contract about how much nudity would be filmed.
Right. Notice not no nudity, just how much.
Including the option to use a body double.
No.
Richards did not use a double and filmed the scene herself after drinking a pitcher of margaritas with Neve Campbell.
Okay. So we see a drunk.
I don't
Denise
know that
Richards
I feel good about that.
Up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fine.
I don't know that I.
But listen, she ended up being a Bond girl later.
Well, touche.
Or a year or two later.
Yeah. So,
doesn't this whole thing just seem trashy?
It does, man.
No nudity. We'll show it. We'll do this. We'll do that. Here's the option to do this. I had margaritas, so just bang me and that's fine.
And we haven't really addressed the issue with the film itself that this is a high school teacher or guidance counselor that is banging high school students.
Right, correct.
Watching for the first time in 2024 is like, woof. I don't know.
I guess I shouldn't say that because technically it's consensual.
Yeah, it's only...
Not saying it's not wrong, but it's
spoiler
consensual.
Alert, which if you're still listening to this podcast having not seen this movie, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But spoiler alert, yes, we find out that it is consensual, but yeah, I don't know that you could really could you make this movie in 2024 and have it be this soap opera loose,
first of
flimsy...
all, turn on your phone, you can see all kinds of things. Two, I don't really think it would excite too many people these days. It's only because of the way the culture has changed and the access to nudity and a lot of it really is it is unnecessary.
It is.
Watching it now, it's a lot. It doesn't add anything. Yeah. But like kids wanting to be like, to get those secret boners and hopefully their parents doesn't catch them. That's really all it is.
Yeah. So adding to the kind of creep factor for this film, I was creeped out by this when I learned it watching the DVD commentary. They actually filmed.
Good for you for watching DVD commentary on Wild Things.
There's one of the filmmakers, I don't know who it is, but is a total fucking creep on the commentary.
Nice.
And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I thought this was kind of creepy. They actually they filmed this at an actual school while actual students were in class.
Oh.
But the school was very particular about disturbing the kids in class. So the filmmakers had to go to a rival school to recruit kids to play extras. So you actually had the school's rival lacrosse team playing lacrosse in the background as they're shooting this stuff. And like they're talking about it all nonchalant. And the whole time I'm just thinking, what a fucking movie to shoot at an actual school while kids are in class.
But what's really happening?
Well, no, I mean, nothing's happening. It's not like people are fucking at the school or anything, but it's like,
I mean, if Nev and Denise are scissoring out in the field while the lacrosse people.
But at the same time, it's like, oh, what movie are they shooting? Oh, it's this film called Wild Things.
Well, yeah,
and then you go and you see the movie once it comes out, you're kind of like, I don't know, I think I would feel kind of dirty. Like, oh, I let that happen on school property.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You and I talked about how the random shots of animals in the fucking woods.
Well, you know, they're Wild Things, Stoney, for God's sake.
Yeah, like we got.
What is it, like a raccoon looking in through the woods or something?
The raccoon in the tree is the one that stands out to me.
And it makes absolutely no fucking sense at all.
Well, you know, they were trying to send a message.
Like, look at these untamed animals.
I guess they thought they were being crafty. You can hear the director talking about it. I don't mean to like just rail on this guy, but as the film opens, he's like, we really wanted to draw this, like these animals coming out of the Everglades and into civilization and to be reflective of our characters and all this stuff. And like, you can see there absolutely is a parallel that they're going for between the wildlife of the Everglades and what they wanted these characters to come across as. But it's just done like,
oh no,
it's such a hokey way to do it.
It's such a lame ass thing. No,
it's kind of, is it fair to say I view it as it's pretty fucking lazy?
Yes.
Like you can come up with better ways to do it that aren't so cheesy. And
I feel like they wanted to make a Skinamax movie.
Yeah.
But you got bigger stars where you could release it in theaters.
Yeah.
Showing me animals, it doesn't make any difference at all.
I'm with you. I'm not saying that like this is a movie you have to like distinctly pay attention to, or else you're going to get lost in the shuffle. But those shots just totally take you out of the film.
It does. It's weird.
What's happening? Yeah. So they wanted a quote swampy feel, but then a lot of the crew actually ended up getting sick because they're working out in the swamp and getting bit by all these mosquitoes. Right. So they're spraying all this bug spray on themselves and then just immediately sweating it off and spraying more. And it's this poisonous stuff that you're putting on your skin. So they're trying to keep up, and people just kept getting sick, sweating it off. And then they'd have to go put on all this sunscreen. And like, that's the one element of the film that I'm like, you know what? You wanted a swampy feel. You fucking got it. Because this thing
that's true.
Feels sticky.
That hotel is gross.
Yeah.
It feels gross. It looks gross. And when, for some reason, Kevin Bacon's partner thinks that she can have everything told by Swamp Lady with the sun with the alligator is so weird. And I don't know. That part really bugs me because that's almost is supposed to kind of wrap things up. But yet it's almost everything you kind of already know. Like, yes, he shot this one guy and it wasn't like legit and there's, suspicion behind it. But the fact that like on her day off, she goes back to this trashy swamp gator farm. And basically she's the person to tell you what the deal is. I don't know. It's just so.
It's a pretty shoddy story.
It is. Yeah.
Or they just like developed a few plot points and thought, we'll just lay it all out for everybody at the
We'll
end.
just do this, and then we'll have her tell her this. It'll be fine.
I mentioned the one dude, the creepy dude on commentary. I didn't catch his name, and I wasn't going to rewind it and watch it again. So I just called him that creepy dude on commentary. Some of the things that I jotted down that he said when they're showing the car wash scene is on, where it's Denise Richards' character
washing the
and
Jeep.
her friend, they're washing the Jeep while Matt Dillon's inside.
Oh my God, you better stop
What if Matt Damon was in this movie? He's quoted as saying like, "Oh yeah, these girls are going to learn how to wash a car," and I just thought that's really creepy. When they're talking about the cheerleaders in the high school, he chimes in with, "Oh, they certainly made me cheer."
Oh.
And then
is he masturbating during this?
No, I don't know. Somebody needs to check this guy.
Sounds like
somebody needs to check this guy. But he also says at one point, "Well, a little poor taste never hurt anyone."
Yeah.
So you know where like the filmmakers,
I was gonna say
their
that
heads are at.
mindset is at where how can we get this movie made with a decent budget, but have the total mindset of basically a porno
smut
with some surprises in there.
Because that's how we got Kevin
with
Bacon.
Known
all the surprises.
It just kept changing, so I thought, sure,
this is a good movie to do.
I guess we should question Bacon a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's fair to do. All right, let's talk about the threesome scene, because that is I'm not ashamed to admit it. At a young age, that was the only thing that I remembered.
Was that it or the pool one?
The pool one
with just Denise and Nev.
It was the threesome scene that was honestly this might have been the moment that I learned what a threesome was.
Oh, I do remember thinking the pool was better than what it was.
Yeah.
So maybe the threesome ended up being like okay, if this is peak Wild Things right here.
Yeah, but I was curious about that because it just seems like a really difficult thing to do as an actor. And hearing the commentary, the director said that he dreaded making the scene because it's one of the most difficult things you can do. He mentioned how some actors are comfortable, some aren't, to do it in front of a camera and a crew. You know, it's hard to do.
And they're not nearly as sensitive as they are in '98 than they are now.
Yeah, well, and that's even back then. He literally says it takes a great deal of sensitivity, but you can't be so sensitive that you don't get what you need out of it. Yeah. So
you hire whores.
As much as we'd like to think it's fun, it's still work.
Yeah.
I asked you when I rewatched this scene is just.
It's weird.
It feels above and beyond, like just a regular movie sex scene. Because, like, I don't know.
Matt Dillon gets into it.
Matt Dillon, he is
it.
grabbing her tits.
Yeah, Denise. Nev stays pretty clean.
Well, it's
for the most part.
The contract. It must be like no nudity thing.
But Denise is out there for the taking.
Matt Dillon is like sucking on her bare chest, and now we know that's not a body double. That's her.
After some margaritas.
It is intense.
Did Matt Dillon have margaritas?
It is like he has a grip on them things.
Yeah, he does.
And like
I
remember being surprised. It's a scene that only lasts maybe a minute.
Yeah, it's not that long.
If that. But I remember being surprised. This is me watching it at 37 years old back earlier in the year. But I was surprised, like that is some like heavy stuff that they are doing. And my question is, like, at a certain point, how do you not just get a boner?
Yeah. And he could have.
Well, maybe he did. Yeah. How do you not? There's such a, I can totally understand how these things are so hard to film, because at a certain point, like, doesn't your biology as a human say, like, oh, I need to fuck this person?
The only thing is because we're not considering everyone that's behind the camera, where it's almost more awkward. So I feel like just getting a boner is different when everyone like is watching and you're trying to get this certain mood and certain reactions, where it's like, oh, you know what, this isn't. It's not as pleasurable as it looks.
Fair enough. I watched this scene and I'm like, oh, this is how actors cheat on their wives.
Well, it could also, yes, there could be real attraction, and the taste of a nipple could be like, oh my God, I'm going to leave this gal, and I must go with you.
Pouring champagne all over
Yeah,
her bare
he's having
chest
fun.
and just.
He's
Yeah,
having fun.
I don't
but then
know.
I think, did Matt Dillon even want to do that? Was that
I
the
don't know.
direction of something?
Don't know.
Was he a gentleman?
I mean, listen to these filmmakers talk. They probably, they were watching how the thing went, and if it went a little far, they're like, you know what, we can just turn this to a porno.
Yeah,
just go ahead, Matt.
I feel like they already
get
had
it
their
out.
dick out of their khakis and were stroking it, so they don't care.
Yeah, it's I am like just baffled by the concept of a sex scene in a movie.
Yeah. Well, and I guess there's ways to do it, but then you think like you see something like that where it is, I mean, it's pretty raunchy.
It
there's
is.
nothing like
Yeah.
there doesn't really seem anything emotional about it. It's just physical.
Yeah.
But you know that someone had to do it, and you know
Mhm,
that it's them doing it. But that's why like some of the story where like Matt Damon acts, oh my God, Matt Dillon acts like he killed Nev Campbell.
Yeah.
That's a dead giveaway now. They
Yeah.
don't show it. He walks
Yeah,
away,
yeah.
and you're like, oh,
Mhm.
okay. Like there's things now where I feel like maybe back then you're like, oh, it's over. But now it's like, you kind of fill in the blanks with the way movies are, and you're like, okay, if they don't show it, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that Nev walked away with it is fine. I didn't even care.
Yeah. That's all I've got on Wild Things. Any
Yeah.
point you want to add to it? Is there
I
do you have a star rating if you were to give it a hashtag
I mean,
VixFlix?
I don't know, probably 2 out of 5. It's not. I mean, it's.
I'd go low. I think I'd go
Would
lower
you?
than that.
I feel
1.5.
like with the actors and stuff and the way they do it is fine, and I guess you have to keep in mind of the time they're doing it, but it also is. It's cheesy. I have to say, in the credits, they kind of piece together like, how everybody kind of became intertwined. The sex scene with Matt Dillon and Denise Richards, where he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna come. I can't come." I'm like, "Oh my God!" Like, did someone tell that the cameras were rolling?
Yeah.
Because that was a very like
It was.
it was so off. It was so mind-boggling on when he said it. But then he goes into saying that like, "Tell me you love me," and like I'm like, you know what? Y'all should have cut some of this and been like, "Listen, this is the movie. We're done. We've had enough.
What do
Let's
you
tap out."
What do you think the tomato meter the critics said about
Oh,
Rotten
it has to
Tomatoes?
be bad. It has to be 41.
64
Really?
from
It's
the
fresh?
critics. Yeah.
Wow.
Audience. How do you think they view
Oh,
it?
I don't know. It depends. How old
If
are
you
they?
interview 14-year-old
Yeah, how
boys,
old are they?
100.
I was going to say 97% probably. And it's real sticky.
Oh God.
I'll just say 58.
54 from the
Yeah,
audience.
yeah.
So,
I feel like the grown-ups probably looked at him like, oh,
what is this?
bullshit.
Yeah. No, it's one of the steamiest movies I've ever seen, and I think that's about as far as I can go with
Yeah,
it
no,
on this
I
one.
feel like they wanted a certain feel and look, and they got it. I just think they forgot to like try to make it a good movie. It was more of like,
Yeah. Do you
let's
think
wait until you see this scene, and then like, oh,
do you think there's a good movie in there?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. But for 98, yes. I think they'll have more problems with selling it now.
For sure.
But in 98, yeah, I think you could get away with it if you kind of added a little something more to it than just like, well, we'll have this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, they'll all be in cahoots.
Mhm.
That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
And then at the end, we'll have this woman talk to this gator woman, and that'll explain it.
And let's see if we can get Bill Murray too.
And Bill Murray in a neck brace. Let's see what happens.
Bill Murray in a fucking
yeah.
neck brace. We're not budging on that.
Fucking lawyer. Let's do it. And
All
Bill
right.
Murray, who has no PR people at all, says, yes, I can't wait.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I love South Florida.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon, that's going to do it for
Oh, man.
the Movie Review Rewind podcast on Wild Things. We will be back next month talking about a special holiday flick, 'Tis the Season.
Oh, what a change.
And I will do my best not to make this mistake again. But here we are in November talking about the sweatiest, hottest, steamiest, stickiest movie.
Yes. Hell yeah. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, yeah. Brandon, thank you for joining me.
Yep.
He's Mr. Big Shot Brandon Vick. I'm Big Natural Stoney Keeley. And until next month, you stay classy, moviegoers.